Hi team, you're listening to the TeamCPNZ Quick Connect podcast, a space where you can stay informed, keep connected and learn from each other along your way. I am your team captain, Richard Greer, and we're going to have a chat to Ian Martella in a moment, Marty. But before we get to Marty, I just wanted to say a huge thanks for everything that's gone on in 2025. It's been a massive year. There's been heaps of achievements that we've celebrated on this podcast and also a number of learnings along the way. So hopefully as Christmas comes along, you get a bit of a break, a chance to reflect, but also get excited about what 2026 has to hold and looking forward to sharing some of those adventures along the way with you as well. So let's crack on. This episode, we're going to talk to Marty, who's just completed the Godzone Pursuit event just a bit over a week or so ago. We spoke to Marty before the race, which is episode 202. Now, with the event behind him, we're going to discuss the highs, the lows, the raw feeling of making it to the finish line, and whether he is already planning his return to Godzone in the future. Marty, come in. Can you hear me, Marty?
G'day. How are you?
Oh, We've got a live cross to Ian Martella in Blenheim. How are you getting on today?
Yeah, it's good to see the internet's working, mate.
Yeah, all over it this time. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
What are we now? We're a bit over a week after race day. I spoke to you probably 3 or 4 days after you finished. It was all a bit hazy then. We've given a little bit more time to kind of land and get back into the swing of things. How are you feeling currently?
Yeah, good. Yep. Actually, I feel a little bit beaten up. A bit more beaten up by the Waimak Classic than I did GZ, but there you go, you see. So, yeah, no, but otherwise good. It's always good to, when you have a great adventure, it's always cool to look back and reflect on, how it was and, the what's and what happened and what didn't happen and so forth. And I think that's probably why we all love adventuring, right?
Yeah, and sometimes it does take a little bit of time for that to come out, doesn't it? Sometimes whatever's happened in the event, you can kind of fixate on certain moments or tough stuff, or could have done that, could have done this. But quite nice to give yourself a bit of that time, and those it all kind of settles down, and you do take the learnings or take the positives from it.
Yeah, well, I do remember one coast to coast one year, just thinking, oh, I hate this, I'm never doing it again. And then, a couple of weeks later, you look back and reflect, oh, that wasn't that bad. And then a month later, oh, gee, that was great. So, yeah.
Yeah. It just sometimes it might take a little bit longer than others. So I guess reflecting on Godzone, it was cool to catch up with you beforehand. It was long, like it was a long event. There was a lot of info coming out. Sort of, it's really tricky from a supporter's perspective to kind of figure out what's actually going on out there for you guys. What are you actually up to, etc. So be interested to hear some of your sort of key highlights as you reflected back on your event.
Yeah, key highlights is always a tough one. I think getting into, obviously it was in Marlborough, and just, that's my stomping ground, and I'm pretty passionate. I love the place. So you just being in Marlborough, that was cool for a start, obviously. But I think it's that camaraderie between teammates, and you have a. You'll probably ask some more questions about this later, I'm sure. But you have your highs and lows, and it's sorting your shit out and getting back on the case, and getting the job done. I found that quite cool. I found with one of my teammates was really quite nervous about the kayaking part, say, for example, and how they dealt with that and sort of overcome it, and that they ended up really enjoying it. And I think that I found that quite cool. I just think generally just being in country, no cell phone. I mean, that sounds weird, but to me, that was a massive thing. Being able to reflect on that and go, gee, how cool not to have a cell phone for a week.
Yeah.
Lows, that horrible sleep deprivation. I was just dizzy all the time. I think there was a bit. Part of me was sometimes, well, I don't want to be here anymore. You got to battle that. But in general, I think the highs outweighed the lows. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. It's interesting you speak of, like, you have spent a bunch of time in the backcountry, and specifically in the Marlborough backcountry as well. So it's interesting that you talk about the team element, the people that you share that adventure with being the most sort of one of the key things that you took away from that. And just speaking about your team, you're a part of the Alan Scott Wineries team with Josh and Sarah Scott and young Todd Petherick, who was called up into the team about a week prior to kickoff. How did you guys go in terms of working together as a team?
Yeah.
Were there any sort of key decisions that you look back on and go, we could have done that better, or things that you're really proud of?
Well, I think for a start, it's pretty tough on Josh because he was really navving by himself. I was trying to back up, but we lost our main navigator in Paul. So yeah, everything's landed on Josh's shoulder, and as I said, I was trying to help with backup, but I've got to put glasses on in the middle of the night with a headlight, and they get all fogged up. I find it bloody frustrating, and I'm well known for not having any patience. So, so in that respect, it's pretty bloody tough. But just we didn't have too many stuff ups. There was a few. I did say to Josh, "Look, you're Nav. I'll back you, even if you're wrong. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
We've got to make a decision, and if the decision's not right, well, we'll just fix it." So, but I did say to him that I will challenge him a lot. And sometimes you're like having a nagging child dragging it, pulling on your shirt, and that was kind of like me on Josh. No, I don't think that's right. No, I don't think that's right. And 9 times out of 10, he was right. So, where am I going with this? I guess, look, we didn't have too many stuff ups. There was one time I think we walked an extra 20k or something around the bottom of Mount Stokes trying to find a track up or a ridge line up. And the silly thing was, I just knew straight away what ridge line we should be taking. I was thinking, if I was hunting, I'd just be going straight up there. But you start doubting yourself because you're not lead nav. So, but in terms of team dynamic, I think that was the question, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
We've all worked together before. Toddy was stellar, coming in at the last hour. Giving him a week to prepare is pretty tough, right?
Yeah, well, just to get life sorted is a big job with kids and work and all that sort of stuff is pretty amazing for Todd to actually be on the start line and make that team for you guys.
Well, he's got 2 young kids, and I'm not quite sure if we've actually said to him, well, I think I'm pretty sure we have, but just how appreciative we were that he was able to jump in. And, he's one of those guys that's just straight down the middle. He's not hot or cold, doesn't lose his temper. He's just, if he was a cricketer, he'd be, second or third drop, and he'd be the guy you'd rely on every time. So, he's plays a straight bat,
Yeah, that's fantastic. Part of that sort of teamwork is that communication, decision making under pressure, and especially when you're tired. How did you guys go with that? Did you have like a team captain that was sort of making the final decision, or was it very much a collaborative approach on that, or like not just talking about navigation, but also sort of sleep strategy and how's everybody feeling, etc. How did that go?
Yeah, we didn't really have a captain. I was quite adamant I didn't want to do it. So, and look, I think it was just a collaborative approach. We had a stuff up on day 2. We were tired. We hadn't slept for, nearly 30 hours, I think. And, yeah, we hadn't slept for 30 hours. And, look, we run out of water, and we made a bit of a rookie mistake. So we all sat down together and made a decision to miss a mandatory waypoint, which in hindsight, we could have done a lot of things. We could have done that a lot better, and that's the one thing that probably irks me the most about the whole race is, what had happened is we'd run out of water. So we backtracked a long way, dropped down, got water, and then I think we were pretty demoralised because we'd had to backtrack so far. But if we just sort of sat down,
put it in perspective, like how far are we talking here in terms of backtracking?
Oh, probably 5k of bush bashing and ridge lines and up and down and like serious backcountry, and it was 28, 30 degrees or something. It was horrendous. Yeah. So, and so to go back to your question, the team sat down when we finally dropped right down to this creek to get water, and then I think we were just so demoralised that we'd backtracked and dropped all the way down, and now we had to climb all the way back up, and you know, to put in perspective, I was carrying 5 liters of water. You know, that's a lot of water.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was so hot. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what
But
did you
yeah,
do
no,
then? What was the decision there? Did you end up saying, okay, we're not going to get that, and then head back
yeah,
this way, or did you decide to
yeah,
have a sleep, or what was the
yeah.
sort of what?
We'll head back as far as we can. It got dark. We slept, and then we all woke up in the morning. And went, you know. And funny, they said this, and Adam said it in the briefing. Said, you know, when things get tough, just put your tent up, sleep on it, and things will look different in the morning. And how right he was. Yeah. So
Yeah.
look, just a bit of a rocky mistake. Toddy and I have never done a GZ before, and you know that's some really good learnings for us. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I take it you're still friends.
Yeah. No, like if anything, you'd say it's brought us all closer together.
Wicked. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
you want out of this stuff, isn't it? Because
yeah,
there are tough moments, and there are stuff when people are stressed and tired, and sometimes, as you mentioned, you don't want to be there anymore. That's when it can get really tough. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool that you guys are obviously went in with the same purpose and went in and communicated well and figured this whole thing out.
yeah. Oh, look, it wasn't all roses. I mean, Sars and I had a bit of a spat in the pack raft. It was 10 o'clock at night. It was dark. There were willy wars going off all around us. It was horrendous. Uh, you know, in the Marlborough Sounds and the Kenepuru. But you know that I guess that's just part of it, and you sort your shit out and away you go. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not personal. It's just you're tired. You know
Yeah.
you're under extreme pressures. It's dark. It was like that was actually even for me quite scary. So you know, yeah. And as I
How
said, if it brings you closer together, great.
Did you have a sleep strategy going in? Because that's a big part of it, isn't it? Like, especially this, I think, as it got bigger and bigger, and you sort of like, I'm sure you have realized the scale of it, but how long things were taking. Did you have a sleep strategy, or just kind of play it as you saw it? How did that go for you guys?
Yeah, so no sleep the first night and then 4 hours every night there on after. But it doesn't work like that. So I think with your sleep strategy, you've got to be, yeah, okay, have a plan. That's fine, great. But you've got to be pretty agile as well. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, sure, get 4 hours if you can, but sometimes you're better off getting 6 or even 7 hours. You know, depending on where you are on the course and what you're doing. So,
yeah,
you know, uh, when you're tired and you're carrying a lot of gear, and you got your pack rafts, and you know you're weighed down, you're not moving.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you know, are you better off getting an extra an hour sleep? Maybe, as I said, instead of 4, getting 6, and you move so much better. You make better decisions. You hopefully you don't make decisions that cost you time, and therefore, you know, more sleep actually means you're moving quicker.
and enjoying it more as well, I'd imagine too. Like that's the thing with this. It's not that it doesn't have to be an horrendous thing. It can be the awesomest journey that you do from point to point, but you need to be all in on that together around how you actually manage that. You've done a bunch of hunting. One of the best bits of hunting is sitting down at the end of the day, eating some food and sharing the day, reflecting on it. You could actually do that and therefore have an awesome experience with this thing rather than just suffering like a dog and your body
Yeah.
falling to pieces and having a horrible time and as you don't sleep at all.
Well, 100%. Yep, I agree. Yep. And you know, our approach wasn't to win. Our approach was there to go and have fun. So, so I've just got the cats annoying the hell out of me. So, if you're
Yeah,
wondering what's going on,
yeah,
yeah. So, look, yeah, as I said, you know, so if we're there to have fun, and enjoy it, yeah, great.
yeah.
So why not get that extra hour's sleep?
Yeah, that's right. Make better decisions the way you go. One of the
Yeah,
key things with this, it's not so much about fitness, is like you obviously got to be a certain level of fitness to be able to keep moving up over this terrain and things. But it's more about like looking after your pressure points, your feet, your shoulders, your butt. How did you guys go with this just to look after yourself so you can still actually walk, especially on like when it's wet and cold and you've been on your feet for like more than a day in one hit trying to get particular sections done?
oh, Josh, and SARS were really good in this respect. So every time we stopped, they'd tell us, right, get your socks off, you know, get your feet out. They had a big tube of gurney goo. We'd be smothering our feet and that stuff all the time. You know, you try and carry a pair of socks so that you've got a dry pair where you can. So yeah, the feet thing for Josh and Sarah are really important, and they made us manage it, and it was really good actually. I'm pleased they did. Some good learnings here. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And what about shoulders, like carrying your bag and your butt sitting on your bike seat?
Oh look, my butt's still sore. I think, I don't know if I've fallen over or something, or she might have got a rock fair up it when we're on the pack raft. I'm not sure, but yeah, and just, I don't know, you just suck that up, right? Yeah.
Right, as long as this isn't Chantal, we're just talking about this stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, and my shoulders are, that was hard. That pack raft, carrying bloody pack rafts everywhere, that sucks. Yeah.
Right. How'd you manage to spin on your shoulders? Like, that's quite hard as well when you just have to wear bags all the time.
Yeah. I don't know, just did it, I guess.
Fine. Okay, so not too raw and all that sort of stuff. They're in one piece.
Yeah, they were sore, but yeah. As I said, just did it. Yeah. Just make it happen. Yeah.
There's been a bit of chat about this particular Godzone. The traverse one that I did from Fiordland across to Dunedin was the biggest ever. And as this one was unfolding, it was starting to realise that actually that one was a baby compared to this one. And Nathan Favre on the TV1 News went on record saying that it was too long, and he had actually told the organisers beforehand that was what his thoughts were. As a local that spent a bunch of time in the mountains, in those particular mountains, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I didn't actually, I had a bit of a chat with Nathan actually the other day, but I didn't actually see his comments on TV. But yeah, look, first of all, as you said, I've hunted, extensively throughout the South Island. I've spent months in Fiordland, right? West Coast, just I think people underestimate Marlborough. That would just be a gut feeling comment. Like, you might say, well, that's a bit flippant, but I think because we don't have, the true Southern Alps rocking through Marlborough, they tail off here, they finish here in Marlborough. We don't have that many 2,000 metre plus peaks. I'm pretty sure people underestimate it. But when in the podcast we did, I said, we've got, we've got the largest high country state, well, the largest station or farm in New Zealand right here at Marlborough, right? And it's desert-like conditions. And then you rock right on through the other end of Marlborough where you've got the Marlborough Sounds, and it's almost near rainforest type, stuff, the amount of rain and stuff we get there. Such large, diverse geographic area. And I'm kind of thinking that the organisers have, I'm not trying to be politically correct here. It's their race. Yeah, their race. You do what you want, but I think they stuffed up. So there it is. I just think they underestimated how tough Marlborough is. I think that we've got the large Wairau plains, and I would have I'm sort of stuttering here a bit. I was thinking about the course, and a lot of the courses where I thought it would have gone, and that's where I would have put it too. But the Richmond Ranges, really? Why would you go there? That's just, you find that anywhere in New Zealand. Why wouldn't you go out to the Wairau Bar where, Māori first settled, one of the first voyages to New Zealand was through Wairau Bay. It's so, we got these such cool things happening that, I don't know. It's just a bit weird. I'm probably going off track a bit here. Look, as I said, their race, do what you want, but I just think they stuffed it up. There you go.
So it was just too big. Like, you just didn't need to do that much. Like the extra loops and extra bits and pieces to add on stuff. You could have been more direct. You could have had a transition point here and ridden your bike down that bit rather than hiking up over that extra hill. Is that sort of what you're saying?
Look, I think when they chucked the Avon loop in, from what I can understand, that came in quite late. I think I was having a yarn to Richie McCaw about that. So don't quote me on that, but I think they chucked that in quite late as a loop. And out and back. What adventurer wants to do it out and back? We want to just carry on through, right? Yeah.
Yes, you want to be feeling like you're getting there, don't you? Rather than doing a loop. Unless it's something amazing, like the canyoning that you did looked pretty amazing. Like that was pretty cool experience.
Look, I hunted Adam down actually, and I said, mate, that was so cool. Thanks very much for throwing that in. And St. Ronan's well. I've done a little bit of kayaking out of there, and sort of know the area, and it's a beautiful place to be. So no, but just the canyoning, that was cool, and the guys were cool. The guides taking you through, they were a bit of a hoot. So that was a lot of fun. But just look, Rich, to answer your question, it was just too big, and they wanted it to be hard. And the weird comment I got from Rob Nichol, having a yarn with him, he said to me, "Oh, the harder it is, the more entries we get." And that to me, I run a business, right? And at the end of the day, they're running a business, and it's got to, if they want it to continue, it needs to be financially sustainable. In other words, they need more teams. So Rob, if you're listening to this bullshit, you don't want to make it too hard. You want to make it achievable, because like a lot of those people just won't come back. And your pursuit teams are your bread and butter, right? And if you're making them carry pack rafts up over, they actually ditched this in the end, but up and over Mount Stokes, but you don't need your pack raft at the other end. So what's the outcome? People start questioning that, and So look, go back. Yes, it was probably a bit hard, bit long, bit tough, and the proof is in only one team out of those 30 odd teams completed full course. Never happened before, has it?
No, that's right. One thing the Godzone do well, like I did Southern Traverse back in the old days, and there was one year on the West Coast at Southern Traverse, they had 5 teams finish, and that's just finishing across the finish line. One thing they do well is they short course, and they if there's someone pulls out for whatever reason, they'll keep them in the game and that sort of stuff, and actually make it to the finish line to actually have some finish line vibes as well. Obviously, this course was different, just the way the Marlborough sounds are, and the weather that kicked up over that particular time, which changed things as well. But how, in terms of finishing, tell us about your finishing experience. How did that go?
Look, we all talked about that too, and I agree. One thing GZ does very well is they try and get people across that finish line, and that was cool. So look, we were on top of Mount Stokes with the young fellas. It's actually quite a cool story. I'll save it for another day. But we got on top of Stokes, and it was about 11 or 12 o'clock. We pitched up for the night, and then we got up at 3, and the weather was just bloody awful. Anyway, we carried on, and that southerly hit us. Holy shit, was it cold? So the team was wet, cold. Been out in the pack raft and that horrendous northerly the day before, you're soaking wet, and then you get hit with a southerly. So team sort of a bit divided. I was easy either way. We're caught in that horrible monkey scrub. One guy wanted to, one team member wanted to carry on, wanted to ditch. In the end, we just had to bail. It was so cold. So we dropped down a dock track off Mount Stokes, and then Joshy goes, Punga Cove. We're going to Punga. Sorry, I'm going off track here a bit from your question, but I have to tell a story, Rich. So we end up at Punga Cove, and of course I rock in there and I go, introduce myself. We know who you are, sort of Marlborough. How good is this? Next minute we're in the drying room, we're frozen. We're warming up. There's coffees, there's hot chips, it's so funny. And I said, can you just send me an account, please? So
Marty, we might have just lost Marty for a second. I think he might Marty, as he's just telling the story, he is actually an electrician. We call him the Mayor of Marlborough, knows everybody. And he might have just had a phone call potentially. So we might be just finishing off to do that. We're going to drop him out of the podcast.
There, and it's I don't know, so funny. You're out there 1 minute, you're just so frozen, and you're on top of Mount Stokes. Next minute, you're in a drying room at Punga Resort. So hot chips and coffee. How good is that? And you know what? If you want to talk about a spirit reviver, getting dry clothes and because we had nothing. All our emergency gear, everything was soaked. So that southerly came through Oh, yeah. So I tell you what, if you want a revival, coffee, hot chips, and dry clothes, there is nothing better to get the spirits up than a little bit of that. So yeah, no, it was great. Yeah,
And it's about, I mean, life is about contrast, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's about if you do hard things, you really appreciate the good things. And you're in the lowest of low. It was the most shittest, obviously, experience, being so cold, up on, like, just out in the middle of nowhere, and then contrast that with, as you say, hot chips, hot chocolates, just chilling out in the drying room, just warming up, kind of
yeah,
thing, and getting your,
yeah,
like, it's the best thing in the world, isn't it? The highest of highs and the lowest of lows is what this adventure racing thing gives you.
yeah. That's right. And look, so Punga's pretty remote, right? And there is a gravel road to it right out through the Kenepuru Heads.
Yeah.
And we're running into TA walkers, and it's quite interesting. Oh, there was a school group there. They all knew who we were. They were all
Right.
dot watching. Yeah.
Okay.
And then as we come into Punga, people are, oh my God, it's the Marlborough GZ team. We've just been watching you on top of
Okay.
Mount Stokes. So it's like, oh my God, because you've been away from civilization for 6, 7 days. You don't know what's going on in the world. And
Yeah.
I was blown away by how many people were following us. So yeah. But anyway, look, as I said, it's still, we dropped down this dock track, and it's still a bloody long walk around the road to Punga, and then from the Punga to Kenepuru Heads. And I think I got to say this: what pissed me off is that we're on top of Stokes, and I won't say it was dire, but it could have been a really bad outcome.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually too bad. I got some really good alpine clothes, right? So I wasn't too bad, but I was uncomfortable. The other guys, as I said, we could have been in a lot of trouble. Everybody else got a message saying, hey, we carry a brick. Everybody else got a message saying, do this or do that. The only people that never got a message were us, and we were the guys on top of bloody Stokes in the Southerly. And we got down to Punga, and we sent them a text on this brick that you carry saying cold, wet, gone to Punga. And they sent a text back saying it appears you've used a car. So if I'm going to have a swipe at GZ, that'd be my one biggest thing. That really pissed me off. Yeah. Here we are in a near life and death situation, and not know, are you okay, or get the hell off Mount Stokes. The Southerly's coming through. What do they think? We've driven a car off the top of Mount Stokes. So yeah,
obviously some communication sort of being not quite sending backwards and forwards is exactly right, is it?
Yeah. So anyway, look, it takes a lot to piss me off, I tell you. So yeah. But anyway, look, that's the funny story. Yeah, you're amongst all this adventuring. Next minute, you're in Punga. So there you go, a resort in the Marlborough Downs.
yeah. That's so good, and good that you waved the Marlborough Marty's mural chains around, and then that obviously makes a difference as well. Knowing a few people makes a difference.
Well, look, I know the owner actually. I've known him for quite a few years, so I rang him up and just told him how awesome his staff was. So, and that's the cool thing about communities, right? That's what we love about our small communities. So, yeah,
good stuff. Any learnings? Is there anything you do differently or better next time? What are some takeaways?
Look, so if I go back to that where we run out of water analogy, slow down, maybe just stop and have a break. And don't even think about it for half an hour or so. Just have a break and lie back and enjoy the sun if it's shining, or and then just take time to consider, moving forward. Take time to consider what you're going to do. Don't rush those decisions because you're out in the field for so long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Play the long game is what you're saying there, basically, isn't it?
Yep. So that for me would be the one big thing.
Okay, nice. I guess at the end of this, like, there was ups and downs. The stuff that the event didn't go to necessarily to plan, etc. But at the end of the day, the big question is, will you be back? Is this a one and done for you? I'm moving on to other things, or is it actually I'm quite keen to have another go at this adventure racing gig?
Yeah, well, look, family aside and all that, that's what's got to come first, because it is quite a big commitment. And I would say, just before I answer your question, I'll get a cheeky wee how fantastic were our support crew in there. My wife and the other guys' partners were amazing. And you
because
talk
they're
about the
losing
Swiss.
sleep as well, aren't they? That you're coming in at
Oh,
all sorts of time of the day. It's not like you're coming in at 8 o'clock and leaving at 8 p.m. and they're heading home for a sleep. They're on for the whole week as well, aren't they?
yeah. So, I talked to Nikki about it afterwards, and I said, "Oh, look, I really appreciate what you did for us. And it's really nice coming in to transition and you're cold and wet, and your wife's or partner's there with hot food and dry clothes and stuff. So, yeah, just Kath and Mary, which is Josh and Sarah's mum and auntie, they were there every time, and they were just so awesome, mate. It's just like, amazing. So just a big shout out to our support crew. Now, what was sorry, what was the question? What am I going back to?
Will you be back? Like, is this something that you're going to do more of, or is it a tick and move on?
Yeah, well, look, I think for me, I've got unfinished business here. I think it annoyed me that we didn't full course it. We didn't finish the course, and that that was the goal. So I'd like to potentially get back out there and give it another crack. I really enjoyed it. I've had a bit of a swipe at GZ on here, but look, there are, so I think it's important to say there are a lot of good things about it too. So, and a lot of fun, and these things, they always make you better at the end of the day, don't they? So yeah. I'd love to have another crack if I get a chance.
And one of the challenges from Godzone is that every year they have a different course. It's not like you get to kind of like, obviously there's decision making, how they do stuff is similar, but having to manage a completely new course every time is actually really tough, isn't it? From a organization perspective, you can't kind of tweak this particular area or do that differently. They've got to make sort of a brand new set of rules and across a brand new course every time. That must be tough. It feels like you need to go back to Marlborough to have another crack at it, and you could quite easily go back the other direction, and it's a completely different course.
100%. Look, there, they basically went right around the outside of Marlborough. They'll have learnings too, eh? They'll sit back and they'll reflect and they'll get feedback from all the teams. And look, as I said, it's their race. They can do what they want at the end of the day, and if you don't like it, don't enter, sort of thing. But I'd say, to be fair to them, this was their first one, and I want to be fair to them and say it was still a lot of fun. It was just too big. So, and as I said, they'll have learnings too. So next time, will it be as hard? Who knows? And it's the intrigue about it. I think they're talking March 2027. So. Yeah, where's it going to be? All those sorts of things. That's quite cool. Waiting to see where it's going to be announced and how tough's the course going to be. Is it going to be a grade 5? Is it going to be a grade 3? Who knows? And that's the exciting thing about it. So, yeah.
To wrap up, I need to throw this cooked toast picture up here because we do that in the podcast. How cooked were you at the finish line? I guess you've got to take the Panga Cove chips and hot chocolates in amongst this as well. So maybe you weren't a one.
Yeah, no, I wasn't too bad actually. I managed to sink a few beers and had a burger, and then I went to touch rugby that night. So, yeah. Maybe 6.
6. Okay. Oh, that's pretty, like, that's toast, but that's not completely toast. Wow, that's incredible. You've done well.
No, I know. No, I felt pretty good. So, a week later, probably felt worse than I did at the finish line. So, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And what's next for Marty for the summer ahead and going forward?
Well, just had Waimak Classic, and it's always great to get down the Waimak, eh? So, enjoyed that. We got Coast to Coast longest day lined up for Feb 27. Sorry, to Feb 26. Sorry, get ahead of myself. So it'd be a bit of training over the summer there somewhere, and hopefully get the family away for a couple of days somewhere. So it would be nice. Yeah, maybe Marlborough Sounds or into the back of the Rainbow or something, or Sananad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good stuff. Lots of good stuff to look forward to. Well, I'm pleased to hear that you've recovered well, or recovering well, and got lots of great stuff to look forward to. But well done on your your achievement, your adventure. As I said right at the start, like, it was cool to be able to watch you and all the different teams out there, but specifically the Team CP athletes that were out there as well. It was super cool to
Oh, yeah,
follow
true.
the
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Rachel Baker and the Nelson Vet Scare Shop team that ended up getting third, which was pretty amazing. We had Nat Gallant and Jake Vargo and the MacPack team, which was pretty awesome. And we had one other as well. Who was the other person that we had? That I'm doing this off the top of my head, which I probably shouldn't because I've forgotten.
That's going to cost you, isn't it? Brilliant.
It will cost me, absolutely. Yeah. But super cool to be part of and part of your journey and be able to share that. So thank you for taking your time today, and well done on an awesome adventure and putting yourself out there.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us, Rich. Sorry, to the viewers, I'm doing this off my phone at home, so if it's a bit wobbly, apologise for that. But thanks for having me. I always enjoy our chats, so no, it's great.
Yeah, good stuff. Keep up the great work, Marty, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Righto, buddy. Thank you. Over and out.
Good job.